Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So previously we learned about, we were talking about single linked list, right? And we saw that how we could copy a list from another list, right? যে কিভাবে হচ্ছে একটা লিস্ট থেকে আরেকটা লিস্ট কপি করতাম, we would create a new head of a list, and then we would copy like nodes by nodes to the new linked list. Okay, so everybody is like familiar with the copy list, right? সবাই বুঝি copy list কিভাবে করেছিলাম? Because we'll need it এখন যখন we'll learn how to reverse or how to rotate. Do
Yes,
you
it
all
would
know?
be useful if you. It
Repeat?
would be helpful if you could repeat because
Yeah.
of
Okay.
the.
Okay. So this is how we copied a list from another list. So the concept was we would have a list like the original linked list, and we would make a duplicate list, basically a duplicate linked list. So this is the initial linked list that we have, and we have the following elements, let's say. And now if I want to create a duplicate list, what I would do is I would take a copy head, a variable copy head, which will be the new head of the duplicate list. ঠিক আছে? And we'll also take a copy tail variable so that I can keep a track of the nodes or the new nodes that will be adding to the linked list. Okay? So at first, when I have the iter is here, that is, let's say n, so I'm creating a new node with the element of the first node. So that is 10 is being created. This is what we are calling a new node. And as this is the first element, we are calling this the copy head. That is, this will be the head of the duplicate linked list. And we are also calling this the tail. Clear up to this part, everyone? Like we are copying one node after another. So at first we are at the first node, which is the head, and we are taking an iterator called n. We will be starting from head, and then each time we'll be creating a new node with the value of n, and then we'll like take one node after another. So as 10 is the first node, we are calling this the copy head, and we are also telling this the copy tail. ঠিক আছে? In the next iteration, n will now come here. So we'll create another node which will have the value of n node. Now this is the new node, and we'll be connecting it to the tail. That is copy tail dot next will be new node, and this is what we are calling copy tail now. In the next iteration, n will now come here. We'll create a new node which is 30. So this is now new node. Again, copy tail dot next will be new node, and this will be now copy tail. Do you guys remember? বুঝছি সবাই?
Please, can you repeat it again?
Okay. এটা কি বুঝছো যে আমরা একটা ইনিশিয়াল একটা লিঙ্ক লিস্ট থেকে একটা ডুপ্লিকেট লিঙ্ক লিস্ট বানাচ্ছি বেসিক্যালি। ঠিক আছে? ডুপ্লিকেট লিঙ্ক লিস্ট বানাচ্ছি একদম এই লিঙ্ক লিস্টটার মতোই দেখতে। সো যখন আমরা অ্যারে থেকে একটা লিঙ্ক লিস্ট বানাতাম, আমরা কি করতাম? যে নোড বানাতাম, নোডের মধ্যে
Hamish.
অ্যারের প্রথম এলিমেন্টটা রাখতাম, নোডের প্রথম এলিমেন্টটা রেখে সেটাকে হচ্ছে প্রথমটাকে হেড বলতাম, and সেটাকেই হচ্ছে we would call that the tail. In the next iteration, we would create another node with the next value of the array, and we'll connect it to the tail, and we would call that the tail so that I have a track of the last node that I've added, right?
Yes, miss.
I'm doing the same thing here. The only difference is I'm taking the values of the nodes here, not an array. That's the only difference. So I'm taking the first node with the value of the head. So 10 comes here. This is now copy head. এটাকেই head বলছি, and this is also the tail. এটাকেই tail বলতেছি. Because this is the first node. All right. Like we iterated an array by incrementing I equal to I plus 1. Here we are iterating with n. Now n will come here. Like n equal to n dot next here, n will now come here. বুঝতে পারছি?
হ্যাঁ মিস।
And then তারপর হচ্ছে একটা একটা করে দেন 20 অ্যাড করব, দেন 30 অ্যাড করব, দেন 40 অ্যাড করব, এন্ড বারবার হচ্ছে আমি টেইলের সাথে কানেক্ট করব, এন্ড টেইলের সাথে কানেক্ট করার পর টেইলটাকে হচ্ছে বারবার আপডেট করে দিচ্ছি।
বুঝেছি মিস।
এভরিওয়ান আন্ডারস্টুড? তো আমি হচ্ছে বারবার যখন হচ্ছে টেইল আপডেট করতেছি, 20 দিয়ে এখন নিউ নোডটা ক্রিয়েট করলাম, এন্ড দেন কপি টেইলের সাথে কপি টেইল ডট নেক্সট ইজ নাও নিউ নোড, and then I'll update the tail and then make this the tail. In the next iteration, n will now come here. After this, we'll create a new node with the element of n, and then connect tail with the new node, and now tail will be this one. We'll create another node when n comes here, so 40, and then tail dot next is new node. This is the new node. So tail dot next is new node, and tail is now this one. And we are done. So we have a copy list, and copy head is the head of the duplicate list. Questions? Any questions, guys?
No, ma'am.
Okay. So now we have to proceed to see how we can reverse a linked list and how we can rotate a linked list. Okay, and then we'll be done with single linked list. So how we can reverse and rotate? So we can reverse in two ways, like we did in arrays. We can do outplace reverse and we can do in place reverse. One sec, yeah. So we can do outplace reverse and we can do in place reverse. Now, what is outplace and what is in place?
মিস আউটপ্লেসে একটা আলাদা করে নোট ক্রিয়েট করতে হবে আর ইনপ্লেসে করতে হবে বলে আমি যখন
Yeah. So outplace is basically we have to create a new linked list. Like we can create a new linked list, and in places we have to reverse the given linked list. So why is in place difficult for a single linked list? Because we do not have like anything to go backwards, right? We can only go forward and we can only do forward iteration. There's no way I can come like start from here and come back to this and then come back to this. That's why in place is a bit difficult. Like we'll see both one now. So how can we do outplace linked list? So why did I repeat copy linked list, like copying a linked list again? Because we'll need it for reversing it as well. Now see, if this is the linked list that I have, this is the linked list that I have, and I have to reverse it. And I'm for outplace reverse, I can create a new linked list, right? So what if I do the same thing, like copying a linked list? I do the same thing here, but I just change the links like while adding them. Like let's see, while n is here, a new variable called reverse head, which will be the head of the reversed linked list. So I create a new node with the first element of the linked list, and I'm calling this reverse head. For now, its next is none, right? And when n comes here, like when I iterate and I create a new node, which is 20, right? Like previously, what I was doing is I was linking this with this, right? Like এভাবে link করছিলাম, right? What if I do the opposite? Does this make sense? And when I add a new node and I add them in the opposite direction and I keep updating the head, and then head comes here. And when I get 40, see, isn't this reversed? Like if I write it like this, this is how I linked it, right? And this is the reverse head. See if it makes sense to you. I'm doing the same thing, like এখানে যা করেছিলাম এখানেও তা করছি, but একটার পর একটা যখন অ্যাড করছিলাম, I'm just adding them or linking them in the opposite direction. So that now 20 has 10's address, and 30 has 20's address, and 40 has 30's address. So they are linked in the opposite direction, and that's how I can reverse it. Don't think about the code now. Do you understand how I did it? Do you understand the concept?
Yes, miss.
কিভাবে করছি ওটা কি বুঝছো? যে I'm taking one node, like I'm making one node in each step or in each iteration with the values of the initial node, but when I'm adding a new node, I'm linking it in the opposite way. Opposite ওদেরকে হচ্ছে link করছি. Okay, so let's see how I can do this in code. Like in the same way, I'll be creating new node objects in each steps, like new node, and then with the value of n. So for the first one, n is here and will start from head. Okay, so n will start from head, and I'll also have something called reverse head, which will be the head of the reverse list, which is none at first. ঠিক আছে? So I'm creating a new node, which is with the value of n, which is 10, and I'm calling this the reverse head at first. Okay, this is how it looks like now. Therefore, I'll iterate and will come here, and I'll create a new node. Okay, so this is now the new node. But while linking, this is what I'll do. So new node dot next is now reverse head. Sorry. Okay, new node dot next is now reverse head, and reverse head will be updated. What's the thing? In the next iteration, n will come here. I'll create a new node with 30. Again, new node dot next will be reverse head, and this is what we'll call reverse head now. We'll add a new node, 40. New node dot next is now reverse head, and we'll call this the river set now. And we have the full list. So it's starting, and if I now refer to river set dot next is 30, that next is 20, and তারপর হচ্ছে 10. Any questions? Guys, questions?
No, ma'am.
Sure. আমি তোমাদেরকে pseudocode দেখাই দিই. This is how the pseudocode will look like. So river set is none at first. N will start from head. It will go until N is not none. I'll be creating new nodes in each step. With the value of N. And after that, I'll keep linking it with river set. I'll keep updating river set. That's it. Any questions? Confusion?
We initialized reverse head with the value none, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
And then when we're saying new node dot next equals to reverse head for the first step,
Yeah. Yeah.
aren't we giving it the value none?
Yeah. So this is the first node, right?
Yeah.
So 10 dot next, if we are making it reverse set, basically 10 dot next is becoming, so this is the first node that we are creating, right? New node. So after that, 10 dot next, that is new node dot next is becoming reverse set, which is none. No problem till now. Then we are making this the reverse set. Right?
I didn't get it. Could you please repeat?
Yeah. Let's do it step by step. So reverse head is none at first. Okay, we are starting from N from head. And then we are creating a new node with the value of N. So this is the new node now. Okay, and for now it's, let's say it's none. This is what we did in this time, right? Clear up to this part?
Yes.
Okay, then we are doing new node dot next is equal to reverse head. So new node dot next will refer to reverse head, which is also none. Okay, then I'm making reverse set is equal to new node. That means I'm now calling the new node the reverse set with this line.
Okay.
Yeah.
got it.
Then it iterates and comes here. I'm creating a new node. So this is now the new node, which has none. This is the line that we did now. Then new node dot next is reverse set. So new node dot next refers to this now. Okay, and then we update reverse set. You get it now?
And then we have to update N as well, right?
Yeah. So that we can do by n equal to n dot next, right? Everyone understood? Questions? No? Gotcha. So I'll move on to how we can reverse a linked list. like in how we can reverse a linked list in an in-place method. Right, we cannot create a new linked list, we have to reverse the given linked list. Look at this carefully because it might seem a little complicated. Okay, so this is the linked list that we have, and this is what we are calling head. So as I said, we have a limitation because we cannot go backwards. We cannot just start from here and then like there's no like backward linking here, so that we cannot like we cannot go back, right? আমরা হচ্ছে পিছন দিকে যেতে পারবো না. So what if I just change these links, like the link that we have here, the link that we have here, the link that we have here. What if I just can reverse them, and then it will be a reverse linked list, right? Do you understand? আমি জাস্ট লিঙ্ক গুলো হচ্ছে কিভাবে উল্টাই দিতে পারি যাতে হচ্ছে পুরা যে গিভেন লিঙ্ক লিস্টে আছে ওটাই হচ্ছে উল্টায় যায়।
মিস গিভেন লিংকটা যদি উল্টায় যায় তাহলে তো নান হেড হয়ে যায়।
নান হেড হবে না, আমরা হচ্ছে এটাকেই হেড বানাবো, বাট লিঙ্ক গুলোকে হচ্ছে উল্টাই দিই, এটা এভাবে রেফার করবে, this will refer to this and this will refer to this. How ওটা আমি বলতেছি, বাট আইডিয়াটা হচ্ছে এটা, that we will be reversing the links. Now, so this will be my iterator n, okay, and as I'll be changing the links, 10 has 20's address, right? So if I change this link, I have to keep this saved somewhere so that when I change the link, I don't lose rest of the linked list. বুঝতে পারছি? Like if I change this link or I reverse this link, 10 has 20's address. Now, if I want to change this link, I have to keep it saved somewhere so that I don't lose rest of the linked list. So I'm saying that the first node is n, and I'm also keeping the second node saved somewhere. In each step, I'll keep updating it. ঠিক আছে, আপাতত এটুকু বুঝছি। We'll need a lot of referencing in this one. ঠিক আছে? So at first, I'm calling this n, and I'm calling the next node, like n's next node, with a variable called next node. Okay, so this is it, and this is now next node. And I'm also keeping a reverse head, which is none at first. So at first, what I have to do is I have to break this link, right? A link টা first break করতে হবে, বুঝতেছি? Like how will the reverse link list look like? 40, 30, 20, 10, and none, right? This is my end goal. So at first I have to break this link. For doing that, what I'll do is I'll make this point to none. See this carefully. So I'll make this point to none, but I still have rest of the linked list saved because I saved it in next node. In the next step, I'll make this n and this the next node. Now I have to break this link. What I'll do is I'll make this point to this one and break this link. Okay, but I did not lose rest of the linked list because I have it saved. So I'll make n this one, and I make this the next node. And I have to now break this link. What I do is I make it point towards this one. So this is now lost. but I still have 40 because it's saved. ঠিক আছে? So now this is n. Next node point towards none. And I make 40 link to this one. Do we have a reverse list? I'll show you two again. Just like, do you understand the concept? Breaking the links and like reversing the links আর কি ঠিক আছে আবার বলতেছি এবার ভালো করে দেখো এরপর কোনো পাবো again so first step this is n this is next node ঠিক আছে তো আমি যদি n equal to head করি if I do n is equal to head so next node will be n dot next all right so now what I'm doing is first I'm breaking this link so I'll make 10 point towards none. What is none at first? Reverse it. Okay. And this is n. I do not lose rest of the linked list because I have it saved with next node. ঠিক আছে? Next iteration, I make n come here and now next node will point towards n's next. And now my goal is to break this link. ঠিক আছে? Wait to update. So আমি এটাকে এখন reverse side বলবো. N is now this node and next node point towards n's next and I will break this link. So I'll make n point towards reverse now. Okay. I make n come here and next node is n's next. Now my goal is to break this link. So n dot next will now point towards this node. With a reverse head check. And after that, I'll update reverse head again. I'll make it come here. Now in the next step, n comes here. Next node point towards n's next, which we won't need anymore. And n dot next is now reverse set. And reverse set comes here. Now if I access reverse set, I'll get the reverse list. Questions, anyone? If you understand the concept, then I'll show you what to write in code. But do you understand what I did?
No, miss. No, repeat a bit.
Shall I repeat it?
Yes, miss.
Okay. I'll just repeat it with lines of code so that you understand better. So at first I have something called reverse set, which is none at first. Then I have the iterator, which starts from n. And I'll go up to, I'll iterate the same way till n is not none. I'll keep iterating. Okay. At first, I take a next node, which will point towards n's next. So I have, this is n now, n is equal to head. And next node point towards n's next, which is this one. All right, clear up to this part? Okay, so the first step, we'll have to break this link. All right, so what we do is, we make n dot next equal to reverse head. So n dot next, this link breaks, and n now point towards reverse head, which is none. And this is reverse head. Okay, and we update reverse head. So reverse head is now n. Then we update n as well. We are done breaking this link, right? So we have to update n. N now point towards this. But we lose the address, but we saved it in next node, right? So we'll do n equal to next node. And then n is updated. Again, next node is equal to n dot next. So next node now point towards this one. N dot next is now reverse head. So this link is lost, and n dot next now point towards reverse head. And n that again is updated and now point towards next node. N is still not none. So next node is now n dot next. So next node now point towards this one. And then n dot next is again reverse head. So this link is not here, and we make a new link. Oh, sorry, I forgot the reverse head. So n dot next is now pointing towards reverse head. All right. And n is again updated. Next node now point towards none. And reverse head comes here. And n dot next, n now points towards this one. N dot next is reverse head. Reverse head is updated. N is now, so we end the loop. And we have the reverse list. So at first it's 40. 40 is the reverse head. It's pointing towards 30. 30 is pointing towards 20. 20 is pointing towards 10. And 10 is pointing towards none. The linked list is Uchi. Questions? কোনো কোয়েশ্চেন বলো, কনফিউশন থাকলে পড়ো। এটা বুঝতে হবে, কারণ ল্যাবে এটা করতে হবে, ঠিক আছে? If you don't understand, please tell me.
The problem is
Yeah.
I'm understanding most of what you're saying, but the problem is 15 minutes from now, I will remember nothing of it. And that will be a problem during that.
So that's why you have to practice on your own, right? You have to draw them on your own and see that what line is working for which line and for what operation I'm doing. If you understand it, you'll be able to do it on your own, no problem. Okay, you just have to practice on your own. So
I hope.
the goal for this class is you understand the concept, how it's working, so that you see it again by yourself, you remember that this is how it was done. And if you don't remember, just DM or ask me in the next class, I'll explain it again. That won't be a problem. Tell me, what do you find the hardest in linked list? Like how the links are changing, how I'm referencing them, or how the addresses are changing, or like what about it?
I think
Are
the
you
hardest
concerned?
part of it is to like
Mhm, mhm.
get a feel for it because we've been working with arrays and lists in Python for so long.
Yeah,
Those are easier to like.
exactly. This is a whole new concept, but this is like I used to find linked list easier than arrays because the lines of codes are less. Like you'd be easily able to insert, remove, reverse, or whatever. I don't have to do any kind of shifting, etc. So that's why I found linked list easier. Like only if you like would able to draw it and simulate it on your own, how they're changing links and how they're referring to one another. Like that's it. Like the exact same lines will be uh, like written in code for those operations. Like for reverse set, this is all you have to write. ठीक है? Like for making a reverse linked list outlet, this is all you have to write. For inserting, you saw as well. Just two lines, right? How we could get access to the previous node, and then how I could link them by doing next data, आगे होच्छे এটা. That's all. So that's why it's very important that you draw them on your own. And then like remember it. When I started teaching you guys arrays, I like in each semester I have to revise arrays because I forget how it like I shifted, how I rotated. Or for linked list, আমার আর revise করতে হয় না. I don't have to revise linked list because একবার যদি হচ্ছে because I practice so much with drawing them and then হচ্ছে তোমার মাথায় চলে আসে this is how it's changing the links and this exact line of code will work for this one. So all you need is practice. ঠিক আছে? Don't just jump in for the code, try drawing them, and then write lines of code for each operation. বুঝছি সবাই?
That was a very good point. Could you please say which operation? Well, I mean, which line of code is doing which operation? For example, like the next dot node line, the first line in red, we're breaking the link with this line, right?
So let's do it like line by line with operation, right? So এটা করি.
Yeah,
Let's do it again. Yeah. Let's try to trace the code. So first we are taking a reverse set, which is pointing towards none. That's something called reverse set, which is none, nothing. Then we have our initial linked list. So we have our initial linked list and n points towards head. N is equal to head now. Is n while n is not none? N is of course not none. So next node is equal to n dot next. So I'm taking a next node, which is n's next. Clear? Now n dot next is pointing towards reverse set. So this is what we did. We broke this link and n is now pointing towards reverse set, which is none. And we are updating reverse set is equal to n. We are making this the reverse set. Okay, so one iteration done, and n is moving towards this node. N is equal to next node. Okay, so one iteration is done. Then n is still not none, so we will do the same thing again. So next node is now n dot next. So this is now the next node. N dot next is equal to reverse set. So N's next will now point towards reverse set, which is this node. And then reverse set is updated. So this is now reverse set. Reverse set is equal to N. And we update N now comes here. Second iteration done. N is still not pointing towards N. So next dot node is the N dot next. N dot next is equal to reverse set. So N dot next point reverse set. We update reverse set is equal to N. N is equal to next node. Third iteration done. N is still not none. So next node is equal to N dot next. So next node will point towards none now. N dot next is reverse. This is then N dot next now point towards reverse head. Reverse is updated. And N is now next node. N is none with the loop. If we now return the reverse head, we have the reverse linked list. 40 points towards 30, 30 points towards 20, 20 points towards 10, 10 is pointing towards none. Clear?
Yes, ma'am.
Everyone? Shall we try that? I could quickly show you rotate and then we'll be done for today. So if I want to rotate a linked list left or right, let's say if I want to rotate this linked list left, how do you think it should look like? Rotating left.
Good.
20, 30, 40, 10, and none, right? This is how it will look like. Does everybody understand? If I rotate the linked list left once, this is how it looks like, right?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. See what changes are we making here? What changes are we making here? At first, head is updated. Head is now pointing towards this one here. This is operation 1, right? 40 points towards 10, right? So this is operation 2 and 10 point towards none. This is 3. Understood?
Yes.
Okay. So these are the 3 operations or 3 changes we are making for rotating the linked list left. If you have any questions, tell me again. I'll repeat what are the options. আবার বলি, ঠিক আছে? So this was my initial linked list, and if I rotate it left once, this is how it will look like. এদিকে rotate করলাম, ঘোরালাম আর কি এটাকে. So 20, 30, 40, and then 10 comes in the end. So this is what it looks like. What are the changes that we see here? Head was updated. 40 now points towards 10. So this is operation 1. Head is changed. 40 points towards 10 and 10 points towards none. So if we make these three changes, we are done with rotating the linked list. Clear?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Now how can we do that? If I just change the head, like for operation 1, let's say, if I just change the head and I make head come here, does that solve my problem? Like if I just do head equal to head dot next. Does that solve my problem? Just for the operation 1, if I make head equal to head dot next, does it solve my problem or not?
We lose the first head, don't we?
Good. We lose the first 10. We lose 10, right, if I do that. So for that, the solution that we have is I keep it safe somewhere or stored somewhere. So let's call this old head. Now, if I store it somewhere and then I do head equal to head dot next, it solves the problem, right? And we are done with operation 1. We keep it stored somewhere then so that we don't lose it. And then we update head. That solves my problem, right? Yes or no? যদি এটাকে স্টোর করে রাখি আমি তাহলে তো সলভ হয়ে যায়। এটা প্রবলেম ছিল যে if I update head I'll lose 10, তো আমি 10 কে স্টোর করে রাখলাম, তাহলে তো সমস্যা নেই, রাইট? 1 নম্বর অপারেশন শুধু, তাহলে হয়ে যায় না? 20 এখন হেড হয়ে যাবে, 20 will become the new head. That solves the problem.
How are we going to store head? Like if we say for the other one that we did, we said new node equals to node dot next. Is there a node dot previous? Oh no,
No,
again,
there's not.
just head.
I
We
just
just say head. Okay.
yeah, I just keeping a temporary variable, right?
Mm,
So
okay.
now I'm keeping head in a variable called old, temporarily storing it, and then I'm updating head. Now I have 10 and I have the updated head as well. Right? This is operation 1 done. Clear, Betsy? I don't know কথা বলবো না কেন।
Yes, ma'am.
Clear, clear.
ঠিক আছে। তারপরে হচ্ছে for the second operation that we have to link 40 with 10, and 10 হচ্ছে old head আছে, 10 is now stored in old head. So if I can somehow get 40, I can just do 40 dot next is old head. Okay, so how can I get 40? How can I get there? For arrays, I could randomly access it, but how do I get here for a linked list?
We're going to have to do that old while n is not none. Or is there a better way?
Like you're saying that I'll traverse starts to iterate from here and up to here, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, so I don't have another way. I cannot just randomly access it here, right? So I have to like take a loop and traverse it up until we get here. Okay, so we take a tail variable, which we start from head. We necessarily do not have to start from old head. Why? Because if you're trying to get here, why don't I just start like traversing it from here? ঠিক আছে? So why would I waste an extra step? ঠিক আছে? I have the next so that I can just start iterating from here, right? So I can just start iterating from head. So by keeping a variable called tail, tail is now inside the loop. Do I do tail is not none? Is it right? And then inside I do tail is equal to tail dot next.
So, but this time we are looking for tail when it's null.
Yeah. So as looking for tail, which means this node, right? So if after the loop ends we reach at none, will that solve my problem? No, right? বুঝতেছি সবাই যে আমি যদি is not none পর্যন্ত চালাই তাহলে লুপটা শেষ হওয়ার পর তো টেল নানকে পয়েন্ট করবে, এই নোটটা তো আমি পাবো না। বুঝতেছো? তো আমার টেল পর্যন্ত যেতে আমার এই নোটটা লাগবে। So I'm starting from here. Loop ends. Tail should be here, not pointing towards none. How can I solve that problem? What changes do I have to make in the loop? If someone gets it, we'll get a bonus mark. How can I get to 40? There's no other way you
While
guys will
tail
solve.
dot next is not none.
Yeah, so why were you not saying it all this while? Was it?
Yes, sorry.
Okay. So till tail dot next is not will solve the problem, right? যে যতক্ষণ টেইলের নেক্সট নাম না হচ্ছে ততক্ষণ হচ্ছে আমি লুপ চালাবো। You guys get it or not?
Yes, ma'am.
Everyone? So tail dot next is not none. ততক্ষণ হচ্ছে চালাচ্ছি। Why? Because head is here, so tail is here. Then tail dot next is not none, so tail now comes here. Tail now comes here. And then tail dot next is again not none, so tail comes here. Now tail dot next is none, so we don't enter the loop, so tail will not proceed again. Hence, we get 40. Tail now points towards 40. Is everybody clear with this? Why we did tail dot next is not none? So this is very important. If you want to get the last element or the last node of a linked list, this is what you should do. This is how you should run the loop. When tail dot next will point towards none, that's when you end the loop so that you get the last node. ঠিক আছে? Is this clear to everyone? Why we did tail dot next is not none? To find the last node. Okay. So now that we have found the last node, I can, after coming out of the loop, I can just do tail dot next is equal to old head. And now tail is now pointing towards old head with operation 2. Clear? And now if we do old head dot next equal to none, we are done with operation 3. See if it makes sense to you. This is the code for rotating a linked list left. Shall I repeat or do you understand?
Miss,
No,
could
it's
you
clear.
repeat again?
Yeah. So at first, coming from the very beginning, for rotating a linked list left, these are the 3 operations that we have to do. That we are changing the head. Head is now pointing towards 20. Number 2, the last element of the node, that is 40, points towards the first one, which is 10. This is the second operation. And the third one is the first node will now point towards none. And if we just do these 3 operations, we can rotate a linked list left. Is it clear? Quickly, yes or no? তার মানে ক্লিয়ার না। Again, আমি যদি হচ্ছে রোটেট করতে চাই তাহলে হচ্ছে প্রথমে দেখো যে এটা বাম পাশে চলে আসতেছে, মানে হচ্ছে বাম পাশে যদি রোটেট করি 20, 30, 40 and then 10, এটাকে জাস্ট বাম পাশে এভাবে রোটেট করলাম, 3টা চেঞ্জ হয়। এটা যদি হয় আমার রোটেটেড লিঙ্ক, there are 3 changes. First, হেডটা কিন্তু এখন প্রথম নোডটা যে দ্যাট ইজ হেড নাও পয়েন্টস টুয়ার্ডস 20, তো ওটা আমার ফার্স্ট অপারেশন। সেকেন্ড অপারেশন কি, যে 40 এখন 10 কে পয়েন্ট করবে, তো দিস ইজ মাই সেকেন্ড অপারেশন। থার্ড অপারেশন এ 10 যেহেতু এখন লাস্ট নোড হয়ে যাবে, তো 10 এখন নামকে পয়েন্ট করবে, অপারেশন 3। তো এই তিনটে অপারেশন করলে আই উইল বি এবল টু রোটেট আ লিঙ্ক লিস্ট লেফট। ওকে, নাও হ্যাঁ বলো।
ক্লিয়ার মিস।
Okay. So for this first operation, আমি যদি জাস্ট হেড ইকুয়াল টু হেড ডট নেক্সট করে দিতাম, কি হতো, 10 কে হারাই ফেলতাম। and 10 কে হারানো যাবে না, তো 10 কে যাতে না হারাই, আমি এটাকে একটা টেম্পোরারি ভ্যারিয়েবল ওল্ড হেডে সেভ করে রাখলাম। এটা পুরানো হেড, তো ওল্ড হেডে আমি পুরানো হেডটাকে প্রথমে রাখলাম, স্টোর করলাম। দেন আমি হেড চেঞ্জ করে দিলাম, হেড ইকুয়াল টু হেড ডট নেক্সট করে দিলাম, দ্যাট ইজ 20 কে হেড বানাই দিলাম, অপারেশন 1 ডান। ওকে, সেকেন্ডে আমাকে কি করতে হবে, যে 40 কে বের করে 40 এর পরে হচ্ছে 10 কে বসাতে হবে, ওটা আমার সেকেন্ড কাজ। সো ফর দ্যাট what I'm doing is I have to find out the tail, যে 40 কোন জায়গায় আছে বেসিক্যালি, ওর লাস্ট নোড হচ্ছে কোনটা, লাস্ট নোডের সাথে আমাকে হচ্ছে প্রথমটাকে জোড়া লাগাতে হবে। তো লাস্টেরটা বের করার জন্য I need an iterator, I call tail, it started from, তাই হচ্ছে আমার লাস্ট নোড হয় সবসময়, কারণ কোন নোডের পরে হচ্ছে যদি নাম থাকে, ওটাই তো একটা লিঙ্ক লিস্টের লাস্ট নোড হয়। তো এই জন্য লুপটা আমি কতক্ষণ চালালাম, যতক্ষণ না পর্যন্ত ইটারেটরের নেক্সটটা নাম না হচ্ছে, তো ততক্ষণ আমি লুপ চালালাম। এন্ড টেইল ইকুয়াল টু টেল ডট নেক্সট করে করে আগাতে থাকলাম। যেই মুহূর্তে টেইলের নেক্সট ইজ নান, I stop the loop and tail now points towards 40. So I have the last node of the linked list. And when I come out of the loop, আমি যদি এখন if I connect tail with the old head, তো আমার সেকেন্ডটা ডান না, 40 এখন 10 কে পয়েন্ট করে দিচ্ছি।
Yes, miss. জি মিস।
ওকে, এন্ড থার্ডলি যে থার্ড অপারেশনটি ছিল ওল্ড হেড, ওটার পরেরটাকে আমাকে নাম বানাতে হতো, সো দ্যাট ইট বিকামস দ্য লাস্ট নোড। তো ওল্ড হেডের ডট নেক্সটে আই এম কিপিং নান এন্ড উই আর ডান। কোশ্চেন।
আচ্ছা মিস, এখানে যদি আমাদের অ্যাপেন্ড মেথডটা অলরেডি ডিফাইন থাকে, তাহলে জাস্ট ওল্ড হেডটা স্টোর করে জাস্ট অ্যাপেন্ড করে দিলেই তো হয়ে যাবে, তাই না?
লিঙ্ক লিস্ট দিয়ে আপনি কেমনে করবা?
মানে আমার যদি লিংক লিস্টে অ্যাপেন্ডটা থাকে যে অটোমেটিক্যালি একদম লাস্টে আর কি অ্যাপেন্ড করে দিবে একটা এলিমেন্ট অ্যাড করলে, তো সেই মেথডটা যদি আমি এখানে কল করি তাহলে আমাকে আর কি আলাদাভাবে কোড করতে হচ্ছে না।
দ্যাট ইজ ইনসার্ট মেথডটা যেটা
হ্যাঁ হ্যাঁ
করেছিল
হ্যাঁ
ওটা কি
ইনসার্টটা,
লিখে
হ্যাঁ
রাখো?
হ্যাঁ হ্যাঁ হ্যাঁ, আমি জাস্ট ওল্ড হেডটা
হ্যাঁ,
স্টোর
তো
করে আমি
কল
জাস্ট
করলে
ইনসার্ট করে দিচ্ছি, তাহলে আমাকে মানে এক্সট্রা কোড করতে হচ্ছে না, জাস্ট রিইউজ করতেছি।
আহ, কোনটা পাও তো, ওই যে এই পার্টটার জন্য?
হ্যাঁ হ্যাঁ, জাস্ট নিচের পার্টটার জন্য, মানে আমাকে জাস্ট মানে
হ্যাঁ, ওটা
মেথডটা
করে
কল
দিতে
করলে অটোমেটিক্যালি হয়ে যাবে, আমাকে লিখতে হচ্ছে না।
হচ্ছে না তো, তখন তো 3 লাইনেই কোড শেষ হয়ে যাবে।
হ্যাঁ হ্যাঁ মিস, কারণ মানে কোড যেহেতু করা আছে তো সেই ক্ষেত্রে আর কি মানে একই জিনিস কিন্তু মানে ওই অ্যাপেন্ডের ইয়েটা।
হুম, একই জিনিস, বাট মনে রাখতে হবে যে যেহেতু তুমি ইনসার্ট করতেছো একটা অলরেডি এক্সিস্টিং নোডকে, তো তোমার তখন এই জিনিসটাকে কিন্তু নান বানাতে হবে। এই যে ওল্ড হেডের পরটাকে, এই লাইনটা কিন্তু করতে হবে তখন অ্যাপেন্ড
আচ্ছা
করবার
আচ্ছা
যাই
আচ্ছা,
করো।
হ্যাঁ 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 হ্যাঁ,
কারণ না হলে তো, হ্যাঁ কারণ না, এটা কিন্তু না হলে এটাকে পয়েন্ট করে দেবে, দিস উইল বিকাম সার্কুলার,
মানে সার্কুলার
ইউ
হয়ে যাবে,
ক্যানট
হ্যাঁ হ্যাঁ হ্যাঁ।
কিপ দিস সার্কুলার হয়ে যাবে, ইউ ক্যানট কিপ দিস লাইক সার্কুলার, কারণ এটা সিঙ্গেল লিঙ্ক দিচ্ছে।
হুম হুম,
ঠিক আছে, so just
ইয়েস মিস।
এইটুক, এই 4 লাইনের জন্য you can call that the insert method, but then again after that method ends, এই old headটাকে you have to make that না তার next টাকে। ঠিক আছে,
ওকে মিস।
okay, now this was rotate left, so if you now understand rotating left, find out this like the operations that you have to do for rotating right and then do it the same way. ঠিক আছে, নিজে নিজে ট্রাই করো, না পারলে tell me. Any questions from what we saw? Reverse and rotating. you have the recording when you practice on your own. Just pause and try to do them and draw them on your own. See if you can write the codes on your own, like lines of code for each operation on your own. Just like I did 1, 2, and 3. A method you can follow. That what I'm doing first, what I'm doing next. If I'm doing this first, if I'm losing a reference to the second node or the next node or not. And then that's how you'll be able to like excel in linked list. Try drawing, and beside that, try writing blocks of code. ঠিক আছে? Questions? No. Okay. So we are done with single linked list. So in the next class, I'll just tell you that what we will see in the next class. So the main thing that we'll see is doubly linked list. Okay, so don't be worried about it. It's easier than single linked list. Okay, and we'll see types of single linked list, but like the types are not that difficult. It's just we only did this, right? And this points towards none. If the tail points towards head, it becomes a singly circular linked list. So that's one type. Everything is the same, just the last node does not point towards none ID. Okay. And then we will learn about something called dummy head, which makes our insertion, deletion, etc. very easy. ART, and we'll talk about doubly linked list. And after that, we'll learn about stack, and then we'll be done with the midterm serves. ঠিক আছে? Yeah, so far so good. Questions? Okay. Okay, that's the end of the class. If you have any questions, you can go on. If you have to share something about your quiz, you can do that. Otherwise, you're free to leave.
Ma'am, there's something in the lab file, instruction 6. If you're using Python, make sure your code has the methods invoked through test statements. What are test statements?
Test statements for the linked list lab or the array lab?
Linked list.
Okay, so basically means that let me show you.